we've been talking about Indiegogos and Kickstarters a lot lately, whether it's Retro VGS or Dragon's Lair. This is one, though, that there could be a market for this, and it would be something I might think about.
It's something that people ask me about all the time at work.
So it's called it's based on Raspberry Pi technology, because Pi 2, which everything is right now, because they're, little Linux, little boxes.
Little boxes of magic.
And you can just program anything onto them, and they're like, oh, yay, it's like $20 for a little thing that's a computer. And,
yeah.
You put a little card in their memory card. So it's an all-in-one retro game console. So how this differs from other Raspberry Pi devices, which, hell, we've been given ones in the podcast before, is that this one has a built-in DVD drive, which means that any preloaded emulators, usually you have to load them up on a card. And usually, at least historically, when you have these sets of ROMs that you download them from websites or torrents, they usually don't have ISOs because those are huge compared. Right. But this, to me, is a pretty keen idea, because according to this, they're going to have emulators for Amiga CD32, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, and more.
This is I all day long people will ask me this in the store. When are we going to get a Retron or an FC that is disc based? And
this is the closest thing you're ever going to get.
This is for right now. This is as close as you can get. They're saying that you'll be able to do CD32, which I think is pretty cool. PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Sega CD, Turbo, and probably, I'm sure, because they're the same, Turbo and PC Engine CDs. Now, you will need to get the BIOSes for them to work, but they're promising that they will send you easy instructions on how to do it. So this is a Retron that can do... Now, there's no slots for cartridges, but it will run all of your cartridge games, and finally, you will have something that starts to dip into the CD era of gaming.
Sure, this is the happy medium. I don't know if there's money in it for a Retron console with a CD drive, just because a PlayStation 1's so cheap.
Right.
It's like there aren't that many Sega Saturn fans to justify it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like everyone has NES games, and NES games are, it's a lot different to me for this. Now, including something like a Amiga 32, that to me is an oddity. At least in North America, no one had it. Overseas, they did.
I was going to say, this is from Europe, and they're basing the entire OS on an upgraded version of the Amiga OS.
So you get your DVD rewritable drive, but you get a front SD card reader. It's going to have a GUI. It's going to probably have all your emulators preloaded, ready to go, and then you just got to put all your ROMs on the little card, and then there you go. Two USBs in the front for controllers. I have to see if there's an output on it. I'm guessing if there's an output, it'd be great for capturing. If I had to play a TurboGrafx CD game, I'd rather play it on this little guy and capture the device versus lugging out the Turbo Duo and doing it. Let's be honest.
I'm actually surprised there's only a spot for 2 controllers. That's weird.
2 front USBs, but then again, nowadays you can buy adapters. You can buy an adapter.
A hub.
You can even probably buy an adapter, and it'll probably work, I think, with a 4-score and plug it in. Why wouldn't it? If the emulator can read it.
Yeah.
You get a 3D printed I/O shield and ARM CPU board holder. You get a little front card. You get the little case. The OS, a lot of stuff I don't know about. Connect to an app store, emulation station, front end for several emulators built in. It's open source. You can modify it and run games from all available sources. Pre-installed games include shareware of Doom, Quake. By the way, the ones that I've seen always have this shareware on, which is just funny to me. They throw them on Duke Nukem. And Wacky Wheels, we're going way back to 93, 94.
I loved playing Wacky Wheels on, direct dial connections with my friends.
And the full version of Jim Power. Interesting.
That was really popular overseas, from what I understand.
Yeah, not here, but overseas it was. So it's interesting. Now, in terms of the price, it's going to be, the cheapest one is 149 pounds.
Euros.
No, is it euros? So that's a little cheaper. So that's about $200, something like that, $210.
Yeah, that's for a 32 gigabyte one, and then they're offering a 64 gigabyte one. So
what's a 16? The 16 early bird is $149, and the other one's it's only $163. Oh, the conversion's right there. I'm an idiot. It's $160. Wow, the U.S. dollar got stronger compared to the euro. It's only $163.
But then if you go further down, there's a 64 gigabyte one too.
Okay.
So,
and that just comes with a bigger card, or is that built in?
No, I think that's built in.
And these have Wi-Fi, so you can update your games and patch them.
I don't actually think it's going to be I mean, it's a small market, but I don't think the price point is going to stop people from buying into it. Because you look at a Retron 5. A Retron 5 is 160 and
200, right?
160
So,
and uses actual cartridges. So for something like this that's going to do all that, in a grayer way, but also does CD support, I don't really see this as a price stretch. I really don't.
no, because let's be honest, if you're, yeah, the Retron 5 is nice, but at the end of the day, everyone's already saying, "Oh, why don't you just hack it and load up ROMs on it anyway?"
Right.
I mean, I'm sure a chunk of people are doing that with the Retron 5. Has it been cracked for that? It probably has.
I don't know.
Already.
I honestly don't pay
I
attention
know that
to
the
it.
other one, the Retro Freak, has been cracked already. But then again, I don't think they have the protection on it that this did.
Right.
So I think it's a cool idea. Now we're one step away from someone doing the Retro Freak and then adding a CD-ROM drive. And then, you know what I mean? Adding the rest of the emulators for the ultimate system, and then you'll just be missing N64 at that point.
Right.
Because who cares about that at the end of the day versus everything else.
A lot of people, but I don't get it.
So I don't want one right now. If it was, let's just say, if it wasn't a Kickstarter, if it was like a Retro Freak product that was like a similar price range, that I trusted the source more and that I knew the quality, I would jump on it for 163.
I don't necessarily think I'm sure this will probably turn out fine. My thing is, and it wouldn't bother me, I think that the thing that would hold this back is it's not going to be as user-friendly as something like a Retron 5. You plug a Retron 5 in, you slam a cartridge in, you hit go. Retro Freak is kind of the same way. This is probably going to require at least a little bit of tinkering to get certain things to work. I mean, it even says right on that front page, you need to get your BIOSes for your Saturn, your
I guess those are still, they're not public domain yet. I guess.
So you need to get BIOSes for, it was 3 of the systems, the Turbo.
Turbo CD. When would they run out? The patents on those. Why are the other ones free, I guess, and available? It's just interesting to know.
Well, I think the Amiga thing, it's because they must have some sort of deal with Amiga because they're using the OS, so they already have the rights to that. So the 32 is probably fine.
So PlayStation's okay. 'Cause remember, that's why Bleem got sued and went out of business.
Yes.
Bleem was an off-the-shelf emulator out there, and I bought it, and it worked great back in the late 90s. And their ass is sued by Sony, and that's bye Bleem.
Yeah,
you couldn't buy it anymore. I mean, I still had my copy, but to play my burnt copy of Driver, I had it in Tekken 3 or 2 at the time.
Probably 3.
So that was good times. So we'll see what happens with this. When it comes out, I'd be interested in seeing the development. And maybe others will follow suit, whether it's Hyperkin or the people that make the Retro Freak, and saying, you know what, DVD drive in bulk isn't a lot of money. Let's slap one in our system.
The Retron 5 and the Retron 2 are like... Hyperkin is so hit or miss. I don't know that I would want to order into my store something from Hyperkin that has an optical drive.
That's just scary to you?
That is terrifying.
Maybe if there was something to connect your own drive to.
Sure, fine.
Input-output device?
That's okay.
You don't have to pay me for that idea. That's brilliant. Just have a little USB that you can accept.
Buy your own external...
Your cheap
DVD
$20 external hard
yeah.
drive. They're even cheaper than that. And then connect your own and just have it ready to go to read it. You heard it here first. Or I'm going to do my own Kickstarter, another one. See if I can break the record next year. I'll do 3. All right.